back to the Ape Well podcast. I'm Paper Ape, joined as always with Ty Waves and Kaizen. We're glad you're here. Glad you made it to the well, and hopefully, yeah, I'm just glad to get this kicked off. Yeah, I just wanted to start off with a quick couple pieces of news from the Ape Well side of things. We just got a new episode not new episode. We dropped a new article on rare Pepes last week. That's been blowing up on Twitter. If you got a Vision Dex, go ahead and check that thing out. A lot of good info in there, especially if you're wanting to learn about the community or just learn how to buy the stuff, because it's not straightforward like some of these ETH NFTs. But that's what I've been doing this weekend. Ty, Kaizen, what have y'all been up to?
Kaizen, I'll let you go first, man.
Man, just did a lot of family stuff this weekend, and in between, like late nights, was doing some Degens stuff. Just always, man, there's always something going on. Like last night, Ty gave me the scoop on a nice artist that I hadn't really been tracking, and just went down that whole rabbit hole. And that's about it, man. Nothing too exciting. Nothing. I guess I made some decent sized moves this past week, but this weekend I scooped up some Pepes, and I'm sure we'll go a little deeper into that. But it's just been fun, man. I was there was nothing too exciting that really had me excited the last couple of weeks, and now, the juices are flowing, and there's some really good stuff coming out.
Hey, Kaizen, I thought you were going to give out a little too much alpha right now, and then we were both going to get front run on the project.
No, man, we got to be smarter. We got to be smarter. We'll hold that back for the time being.
Okay, perfect. Same page. Yeah. I was like scrambling for the DM, like, chill.
Yeah, sorry, man. I didn't even mean to go into it, but I caught myself.
No, you're good. But yes, and Paper, haven't even ran it by you yet. We've been so busy. But outside of looking at some really cool one-of-one art this weekend, I was hella busy with some IRL shit and some in real life work events, and just traveling a little bit last week. So I'm still out of town. I've been trying to keep up with as many projects as I could have over the weekend. It seems like we had some action and a couple things are popping. But yeah, overall, market sentiment is still a little bit slow overall, I think. Coolest thing that probably happened on my radar is our very own Kaizen actually picked up the CryptoPunk.
Yeah. That's super exciting. I want to hear about that story.
Yeah, that was something I think most of the people in the space, like, that's a grill thing. And man,
I feel like that's where we should start, Kaizen. Like, break it down for us, man. It's super grail on your radar for how long, and what made you finally pull the trigger, bro?
Yeah, I appreciate that. When I first got into NFTs, it was just about a year ago when I kind of started to get the bug and was researching. I wanted a CryptoPunk. Like, even I like the apes a lot, but I wanted a punk. And then when I really dug into it, I found myself in a point where I could really take all my liquidity and buy a punk, or I could buy an ape and have the rest of the ETH to kind of play with. Because at that time, the apes were like in the 30s, like 30 ETH. And so as much as I wanted a punk, I was like, man, apes are great. Like, this is, it's got so much upside. I'm going to buy an ape, and I'm going to play with the rest and try and build up and see what happens. So it's kind of, as apes or the punks have been up and down. So, it wasn't a straight line to get to this point, but I'm just, I finally was able to do that, man. I have my ape and the punk, and so I'm extremely happy about it, man. Like, but so really the thing, man, like, they were fading, right? They were falling back. I think they might have gotten in the 40s just a few months ago, 40s or 50s. I wasn't really tracking it at that moment, just when ETH dipped so bad, right? And so we all know that Yuga acquired the rights to CryptoPunks. Larva Labs was really just failing at everything that they were doing. And so that was huge bullish thing that happened. And then they instantly gave the IP to the owner, so that's another thing. And really the third piece of bullish news, I forgot the guy's name. I think it's Noah Davis, maybe. They brought a guy over from Christie's, and this was the last pump. Like, somebody leaked that out, and everybody was buying punks, and nobody knew why. And then, like 3 days later, this is right around NYC, the news finally came out that Noah Davis was brought over from Christie's to be the head of the punks division for Yuga. And so I was digging into that, and I was like, this is the guy from Christie's that he's the one that negotiated the sale of that huge Beeple sale, the first 1,000 days or whatever, the first collection of his NFTs, the largest NFT sale in history. And just, he's got connections in the traditional art world. And so I'm like, man, like, if this guy is going to bridge that gap and kind of sell punks as fine art, like, I want to get in. Like, I will always regret not buying when I could if they make a run. So that was it, man. That was the final kind of piece of it. And I had to let go of some things I really liked. I sold an X copy that I liked. I sold Moonbird that I liked. But man, I just had to get a punk. I just had to do it.
That's a boss move right there. I think the whole bringing up Noah is a really good point, because you really got in at the perfect time, like right before this whole Tiffany's announcement started. How are you feeling about that?
Man, I really love it. And I don't, gosh, man, I just can't do it. I can't get there for that value. Man, for 30 ETH. And really the thing I'm trying to, half of me is saying, no way, don't do it. You don't need that diamond medallion or gold medallion. But the other half of me is saying, look, it also comes with an NFT. Like, what is the value of that NFT? If you flip that, then what can you get to offset the money that you're spending on the jewelry? What do you guys think? What do you think the NFT will go for? It's like 250 supply, right? Like, it's tiny.
Yeah, it is tiny. It's hard for me to put a value. I feel like it's hard, not just for me, but for like anybody to put a value on it, just because it does come with the real life asset, but it also has the digital part. So I think it's kind of difficult to really even value it at all. Like, I guess you just have to value it like a regular Tiffany's piece, which I am super unfamiliar with that with that whole world of like jewelry and fine art, if that's what you want to call it. So yeah, I just don't think I'm a good person to ask for that one. Ty, what are you thinking? I think he's actually having a couple connection issues. But yeah, yeah. But what do you think, Ty or Kaizen?
Man, like, from what I've never thought about for a second buying anything from Tiffany's. Like, I know the brand. I've thought a few times like how cool it would be to have like my ape on a chain like that. I would rarely wear it, but for the right thing, man, I would rock it maybe once or twice a year. And so this just kind of came out of nowhere. But so I don't think I would really get the money's worth out of wearing it. But man, maybe I could see that NFT selling for over 10 ETH. Like, and that's just total speculation, total guess, like not based on anything, but just the fact it really, I guess that would probably, I'm assuming, be Tiffany's first NFT launch. Like, so I think there would be people that would be interested in owning that. Do you think 10 is crazy?
10 ETH for the actual NFT itself?
Yeah, exactly. Just separate from the jewelry.
I actually think that makes sense, is because you can't really discount the fact that there's only 250 supply, especially for it. Like you said, it is the very first Christie's NFT. So you would assume if anything else comes out from them, that these people probably have priority to it. So I think that's a big plus. And then I guess you also got to take into account that like the NFT probably will go down in value after the 30, like after you buy the thing, because you're getting the NFT plus the actual physical asset for that 30 ETH. So the physical asset's going to have its own price, and maybe both of those will add up to 30, and probably in the future, combined, be more than 30 ETH. I think that would be like a totally plausible situation. But yeah, I don't know what the actual NFT will go for. It's really tough call right there. Ty, do you have any thoughts on the whole Tiffany's thing? Oh, I think your mic's muted. We can't hear you. I might have to go in the audio settings for that one. We'll send it in the private chat. But yeah, no, I saw somebody have a take that these pendants they're not for floor punks, and instead they're for the people with the really good punks, because 30 ETH is nothing for them, but it's one that you won't be trading very frequently. Like, people that are going to be holding onto their punks for a long time, it seems like this is kind of more targeted to them because it's more of a collector's item. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, if the cooler your punk is, the cooler this pendant is going to look, right? Like, typically the people with those high-end punks would have a little more liquidity to make that move. I agree. Yeah. Like, there's some that are just going to be sick. Like, even the one in the promo looked so amazing. And I think it said it's 18 karat gold. It comes with the chain. I think it said 28 jewels in it, and free shipping. So, but just the practical side of me is like, look, like this game that we're playing with NFTs, like, there needs to be liquidity. And I think when you buy that, like, that's kind of a hodl thing. Like, you're going to have that forever. And at some point, man, I'm probably going to wish I had that 38th back to do something else with it. And it's going to be impossible to move.
Yeah. Like, at the point in the market we're in, it's already hard to get 30 ETH out of anything. So it's impressive that you could get enough to get that punk beforehand already. I'm kind of going through the same struggle trying to get enough for a Nakamoto card. So I don't know if we want to shift gears to the rare pet yet, but that's what's been on my forefront still. Like,
where are you at on it? Is Ty in yet, or is he still on the sideline?
I think Ty. Oh, I don't know. My browser just like completely disappeared. Can you also hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man, but my browser's gone too. So.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what just happened. Okay, Ty, we can hear you now.
All right, cool. Yeah, sorry. Real quick on the Tiffany's front. I think it's really cool that they entered the space. General setting. I saw someone tweet about just how old and established a brand they are. That is to a whole different type of community, or at least members of it. At least, not saying that's their whole. So I think that's really cool. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of pricey. It's probably gonna suck. Some of the chains are dope. Kaizen, you said 23 jewels. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was 18 or 20, somewhere between 18 and 25, man. Yeah, it's, if you really zoom in on it, you can see them.
You picked up your punk right in time.
Man, I would love to have it, man. The other factor, I'm married, man, and I brought it up to my wife, and she was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh, that's awesome. So that,
and I was like, "Hey," yeah, it's on hold. I even told her, I was like, "Hey, you can wear it," and she's like, "No, I wouldn't wear that." So I tried to.
Funny.
Yeah, I tried to sell it. She's not buying it. So
we didn't get full buy-in on the CryptoPunk Tiffany chain.
Nah. It's all good, man. I think I can do a lot better with 38th, I think. And I don't really have that. Clearly, I don't have that just sitting around. But yeah, man, I can make some other plays.
That's a hefty chunk of change. You know what I mean? If they take there's 250, and my audio was off too, or my speakers. I mean, so I missed part of this. Just redirect me if we need 200 150 times what, 30 ETH each? Like, that's a ton of ETH. 7,500. Jeez.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. They're gonna pull in a lot of money for that. Yeah, and I saw a DeesFi post about it, and he said that I guess maybe he's got some inside information, but he said that they set the price when ETH was around 1,000, like it was during that downturn. And so he was like, look, that's a pretty huge increase in US dollars. Like, yeah,
Totally.
yeah. So that's the really kind of shitty thing about the volatility in ETH. Like, yeah, if it was 30K, that's a little different than what it is now. Like 50 to, I think it's closer to what, almost 60K. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's like a big thing for pretty much any founder to pay attention to, because I was going through the same thing with the Vision Dex. I had set the price at 0.35 ETH whenever ETH was $900, and back then it was like, I think 300, maybe under 350 total bucks. But now once ETH is 1,700, that's a lot more. I think like over 600 by itself, which, yeah, it's a big difference and something that founders need to take into account whenever they're releasing something, because you also got to think about in future price terms. Like, once you sell an NFT for a certain price, you can't lower the price or you can lower the price, but you can't raise it back up. So it is a one-way street. So I think you kind of have to like play that as like on the little bit, like just release it on the higher side, and then if you need to make an adjustment lower in the future, you can, but definitely be mindful of the volatility on that stuff.
The price is a little suspect.
Yeah, I think 30 ETH, the fact that they only have 250 people going for it, they'll probably end up selling it out pretty easily. But yeah, that's hefty for this market. But yeah, did y'all want to shift gears to rare Pepes? I've been going in on these lately. I know Kaizen's been looking at them. Ty, I think you told me you were thinking about it.
I mean, you guys are so bullish on it. Like this turned out is it just 1 week up your first, or is it 2 weeks?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I was asking when you got your first Pepe.
Okay, yeah, it was like a little over a week. It was like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks maybe. And then yesterday I bought 47-ish, but like these are the lower end ones. Like, I'm trying to collect at least one of each card, especially like for me, I was just buying the ones that were less than 0.01 ETH. Like, I didn't spend more than $10 on any of the ones I bought yesterday. That's what I love about these, because there's so many to choose from, and you can find, no matter how much money you're working with, you can find something that's affordable to you. So I think that's what a lot of people don't realize when looking from outside the collection, is that it's not just stuff that costs like, 13 or 20 or 50 ETH to buy. Like, you can find stuff for less than $10.
Damn. That's insane. I didn't realize those editions was that low.
Yeah, no, like if anybody out there needs to find some rare Pepes, like, send me your budget and I can find you some grails. That's all I've been looking at for the past 2 weeks. Like, I'm still not down at the bottom of the rabbit hole yet. It's still interesting, it's still fascinating, and it's just a captivating collection.
Look, bro. Yeah. And real quick, shout out to anybody listening. Trying to bring on experts in the NFT space, specifically to Pepes, paper one-on-one interview. If anybody's out there tuning in right now.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have some historical podcasts, some people to talk about on that side of things coming up. I think it's NFT Now. It's another NFT news community. They're starting a whole weekly series of historical NFT podcasts. So we'll try to get something going
wow.
with them. I think there's a good overlap there, so we'll bring them on to here one of these weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen to that one, man. Like I know you've been deep in the rabbit hole, and I've done a little research too, man. Some of the links that you've shared, like watching some old YouTube videos, breaking down the history and just even the process of buying. And yeah, man, I would love to hear your conversation with somebody that's been there since when it was happening like 5 years ago. Like that's just insane to me that that was going on. It was not on my radar. I mean, I saw some of the memes from the collection, but I didn't know what it was. Like I didn't know it was from an NFT collection.
It's just got so much history baked into it that I think for me, this is one of the biggest asymmetric bets that you can make right now. Specifically, like that's why I was going and just buying up all the really cheap cards yesterday. Like not buying a ton of them, just making sure I have at least one card that I could get for a couple bucks. But some were selling for like 1 cent, so I obviously got a lot of them. But yeah, I think just doing stuff like that,
So-
like right now, you might not know why you're doing it, but looking back on it from a few years, you'll be like, oh, well, that was a no-brainer. I think that's, for me, how ENS were a couple of years ago. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping to just replicate that with this play.
and you learned from the ENS too, right? But I think this is a big, like this is a conviction, and it's really, really cool to just, as you're going down on this journey, it's been really, really cool. I've learned a lot, and obviously rare Pepe. Quick question: what's the total supply again across all the editions? Could you refresh my?
Yeah, so there's, out of all the different unique cards, there's 1,774 cards, and then each individual card has its own number of cards that have been issued. So it could be a 1 of 1 card, or it could be a 1 of 9 billion. But most fall around the bell curve of like 100 to 300.
Yeah, the 9 billion is Pepe cash, right?
It's one of the highest. I think it's a billion total supply. It might be less because I think people burned like 30% of it maybe. But Pepe Cash is one of my sleeper picks for cards that I think have the potential to increase the most. And that's just because yeah, that's the alpha right there. And it's the most available. It's one of the most available cards. Like it's basically used for liquidity. You can buy other cards with the Pepe Cash card. So it's kind of like Dogecoin, except for it has an actual NFT associated with it. So it's like a really unique thing that I haven't really seen anywhere else in Web3.
Yeah, I love it, man. I've spent
makes me
hours just scrolling.
Debit card.
What was that?
Guys, I might have a little delay or something.
Oh, okay. What were you saying though?
I was just the way Paper broke it down. Like I just envisioned like a Pepe Cash that I was hoping for some sort of Pepe rewards, but I think we're a little ways out from that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they could do something like that. I mean, the community is strong. It's really strong. Like, there's people. I think you love it or you hate it. Like, and honestly, I haven't really seen anybody that hates it. It's either you love it or you don't know about it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's crazy.
That's one of the things about memes.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Like I think from the outside, it's easy to hate on it if you don't know what's actually going on under the hood. Because like that's how I looked at the whole collection for a long time, and that's what really kept me out of it. Because I'm like, oh, these are just some random NFT cards that people minted one day on Bitcoin. Like, there's no way it's going to be worth something. But until you understand the whole story, then that's when it starts making sense. And I think that's why people like it so much.
And Paper, so can you break down like the technical side of it at all? Because I've been pitching it to people. I think we do have a delay, right? We got a little delay.
By the technical side, what do you mean by that?
Just like as far as like I understand, I don't understand the ETH NFT system to like the nuts and bolts, but like I understand a lot of the images are hosted on like IFPS. Some are hosted on chain. Like, do you know how that works for Rare Pepes? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know the real technical side of all that, but because I know the very first Pepe cards weren't IPFS, they weren't like immutable or anything. There is one specific card where that switched, and then I think every card after that was immutable. So like, if something happened to the file, I guess, like no matter what, the image is already on the chain. So that is a thing. I'm not sure which card it started with, but I think the majority of them are immutable. But that was one of the beauties of how early all these people were. So back then on Bitcoin, like Rare Pepes were the first art NFT collection, really. And so back then, there weren't the NFT ecosystem was nothing like it is in 2022. This is back in 2016, and so these people they started minting the first Pepe cards, and then they'd show up in people's wallet, but nobody could actually see the images associated with the tokens. And I think it was like a week or 10 days later or something, they ended up making Rare Pepe wallet, which you can find at rarepepewallet.com. And that was actually the first wallet where people could actually see the images associated with the tokens they owned. So it's really crazy how like just dropping that collection just spawned more technological innovations that I mean, it's just like on OpenSea, like you have to see the assets that you own in order to and it just makes a huge difference. And this was the first iteration of it back in 2016, and it was really ahead of its time because it's still operational, functional to this day, and it works great, albeit that like it is on Bitcoin, so it's much slower. The transactions can take like 30 minutes to go through, but it still works pretty much exactly the same as Ethereum from what I understand. If that helps answer the question.
Yeah, no, that's good. And yeah, that was like I made my first buys this past weekend, and I picked up 2 different cards, and one was a low supply, like 100 supply. The other one was like a 20 or what was it? Like a 2000 supply. And man, like I've been in Bitcoin for a while, man. I was lucky to buy in the fairly early days, and it took me back in time, man. Those interfaces and those slow transaction speeds, like I'm huge, like bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that was just a great reinforcement of how different the two networks are and the use case. Like Bitcoin is like slow and just, I think it's perfect for what it is. It would never be a useful tool for like microtransactions or like, you know, I really see the future of Ethereum as being like the next real viable money. Like when they do this merge, like it's going to be as viable as the existing credit card system or all those other debit card systems. Like it's going to be fast enough and the fees will be low enough to rival that. Bitcoin will never be that. Like I can see us in the future buying houses with Bitcoin and things like that. And that's just going to be a standard network. But I don't know, man. I just love it. It took me back in time, and it took forever, man. I was sweating the whole time, but it's cool to actually transact on that network. I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, that actually brings up another point that I wanted to touch on. And it's one of the reasons why I don't really deal with any Solana NFTs or NFTs on other chains that aren't ETH, like with the exception of Bitcoin. I'll get to that in a second. It's just because for those chains, you don't really know how much of a life those chains have. Like they could be dead in a couple of years for all we know. But the ones that I am super confident on are Ethereum, because I know that's probably going to be around for a long time. And then the only other chain that I can say that about is Bitcoin. So those are really the only 2 chains that I feel comfortable owning NFTs that like are going to be long-term plays on. So I think that's another thing that people should think about, because it's just like the culture of that chain, basically.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And Ty, do you have anything else on this one? I just saw we have a question that popped up on the side.
Yeah, let's get the question. Sharing some great perspectives. I agree. I think Bitcoin is hella strong. It's not going anywhere, and for a while knows. I'm a fan of the orange coin for sure. It's funny to hear you guys talk about them. You want to go check out Rare Pepes even more, just to see what that experience is like. Solana's dead jabs is hilarious. And I have a huge delay, I can already tell.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit. Kaizen, did you want to get us kicked off with Drunk's comment? Did you want to, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, so he's just asking what's the cheapest, most lit NFT I can buy. Thanks for the question, Drunk. For me, man, obviously my brain is just in Rare Pepes, so I think that Paper kind of already said that earlier. Like, that's the way to go. Like, just like you said, an asymmetric bet, like you're just putting down a small amount and it could turn into something really huge. That would be, as far as narrowing that down, man, like you could spend, I bought some that were like $20 yesterday. So just, I don't know. And like Paper said, you can go even cheaper than that. So, yeah, if you're still listening, man, let us know what the price range is and we can dig in, and I'd be happy to give a Pepe pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seconding what Kaizen said. Just like I said earlier, yesterday I bought 47 Pepes, and I'm pretty sure I spent less than $10 on every single one. So like, as far as cheap goes, where there is that potential, like that historical potential of massive upside in the future, there's a chance. It's probably not going to be a really quick flip, but you'll probably have an opportunity to exit and profit at some point. I would definitely look for cards that are distributed well, so there's not any whale holders that have like 9,000 out of 10,000 total cards and they can just keep the price low forever. I would look for ones with good distribution. But if I had to name a specific card, like I said earlier, Pepe Cash is probably the easiest way to go. It's like a cent right now, and you can buy a bunch of them, and it's the most liquid. Ty, what do you have for us on this comment?
Cheapest, most lit NFT we can buy. Yeah, cheapest is all relative, I guess. But I think there's a couple good options, even just on the OpenSea, like top 10, top 100 pages. But I'm going to shout out Loser. Great pickup, awesome community, great way to get into Web3. Entries probably like 0.1 and 5 to 1, 2, 5 to 2 rather. Yeah, shout out to the Losers. That's who I pick. 0.12. Oh, you can't go wrong. Now, if you're looking for but if you're looking for a dope ass community to get involved with Web3 and maybe some spaces and get in some alpha groups and maybe find the next project, it might be a good play.
I see a lot of people rocking that PFP, and you know, sometimes these things come and go, right? Like I love the Sunnies. That's one of the founders is out of the HX
Shout out
community.
to the Sunnies.
Yeah, I love the Sunnies. I still hold all of mine. And there was a moment where those were all over my timeline, and now they've kind of faded off. But Loser Club has remained. Like, I still see a lot of people rocking that, and I love everything that you guys were telling me about what they're doing with their music project, and just seems like it's a vibe. Like, I'm not a holder yet, but I need to track it, man, and probably just dive in. But I think it's a good call.
Yeah, agreed. I've been seeing a lot of that on Twitter also, and even like I'm not super tight knit with that community, but I feel like I see more and more PFPs every day, which that's always a good sign to see. But Loser Club's one that I think I'm going to look into also recently, because it seems like the people are really genuine. They like Javon's art, and yeah, just good vibes all around.
Man, I've got a tangent that's kind of. Go ahead, Ty. If you.
No. Go ahead. What's your tangent?
So I just listened to. I don't know if you guys ever check out the overpriced JPEGs. I forgot the hostess's name, but she's great, man. I listened to the interview with Andrew Wang, which was interesting. Like, I knew of him. I never have heard him talk before, so I just had it on, man. There was some of it I got bored, but there was some really good stuff in there. But one of the things that he said was there's like a plugin that you can put into your browser. I don't know if it's called like the Sentiment browser or something, or Sentiment plugin. I'll have to go back and look, but you can, if you install it, you can look and see on Twitter how many people in whatever collection are using a certain PFP. And so that's one way that he uses to kind of check market sentiment on things. And I like that idea, man, because is as like superficial as that kind of seems, like I think there's a lot of power in that idea, right? Like, yeah, so just to see where people are going, like if you're thinking about getting into Loser Club or Cool Cats, just to kind of track that and see, like, are we trending up? Are we trending down? And yeah, there's a lot of power, man, in just seeing those images.
Yeah, and if you're tracking and you get in early and you see like, oh, there's like, if you switch up your PFP, that's kind of major. You might also be a little bit newer to the spare, but if you're switching up your PFP, that's pretty major. And if those stats are a good indicator that floor price is also going up or might follow pretty soon.
Yeah, that is really interesting, because I think like whatever PFP you choose, also like you got to know why you're choosing it, if that makes any sense. Because like to me, if you have a Bored Ape profile picture, like a lot of people use that so they can get more engagement. And if that's the reason why you have one PFP over another, I think it's a good indicator to show like which communities are the most engaged. Because to me, that's why somebody would want to use one profile picture over another. And yeah, I'm definitely interested in looking at that sentiment indicator, because it does make sense to where like people will follow wherever interest and wherever engagement, wherever activity is going. So that's probably a good way to spot whatever profile picture project is coming up next, because I think some people think that PFPs are dead. I've probably said that a couple times, but I think in every single wave that we see, there's going to be these new ones that emerge that really, have good communities that are loyal to everybody. What was the name of that thing again?
Man, I was just looking, trying to find it. I'll have to go back into the interview and find it, because that's important, man. Like that's such a good tool. But as I'm thinking about it, I'm assuming it might actually just be the people that are verified. Like I just can't think of somebody like manually going through all that data. The only way I could think it could be automated is if it's the people that have the hexagon.
Twitter blue.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, the hex. That's the way I can only way I can think of them like automating that process. But it still would be useful to know, right? Like you'd assume
it's gotta be.
The ratio would be similar to people that are verified versus not, or not verified, but are paying for Twitter Blue. So I'll follow up next week. I'll definitely have that alpha for everybody.
Yeah, we'll have to drop that in the post-show notes or something on Twitter. But yeah, did y'all want to do a round of sweep or sell today?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Hey, I'm always
right.
down for a little sweep or sell.
Everybody's favorite segment, sweep or sell. All right, let's get it. Let's get the OpenSea pulled up right quick. I think the top.
That's an easy.
The CryptoPunks at the sweep Let's see what floor price
No,
they
no,
are.
loser clubs.
Oh, loser. Yeah, they get the honorary sweep from Ty.
Yeah, honorary sweep. Shout out.
All right, so coming in at the number one spot for the week, 24-hour volume, CryptoPunks. Obviously, no surprise there after the Tiffany's announcement. Current floor is sitting at 74.75 ETH. I'll get us started. I'm sweeping this one. I still think Punks under 100 long term is a pretty. I don't know. That's something that I would take any day. That kind of bet. Kaizen, we'll kick it over to you because I'm pretty sure we know your answer also.
Yeah, I feel lucky to have gotten in. I'm looking at the floor of. So really, what's happened is everything has been bought up. Like everything that's on the floor now was at like that one right there. I really like that one that's on the floor, the 74.5 or 74.75. Like I was considering that. Yeah, basically everything that was under that has just been eaten up, and looks like a lot of people aren't moving their price up. I think it's a buy, man. And then Tiffany's announcement definitely moved it because I was kind of tracking Punks yesterday morning, and it was like 68. So the floor had fallen like 2 or 3 ETH since I bought in. And so I was still, it's a long-term buy, but I was still like, it feels better when you buy something and it starts going up versus down. So I still think it's a great buy for sure.
Ty, what you thinking on this one? Oh, his picture disappeared. I don't know. We might have lost Ty again. Yeah, Ty, I think we lost your audio. He's still in here. I think we lost audio again. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to Ty on that one once he gets back in here. But we can move on to number 2 right now. We got Bored Ape Yacht Club sitting at 85 ETH floor price. Let me let Ty in right here. All right, Ty, you're back. Is the audio working this time? All right, I think we're still having audio issues. We'll give them a few seconds. But moving on to the Bored Ape Yacht Club. To me, I'm buying this at 85 ETH. I think the floor's been sitting low for a minute. Kaizen and I were DMing about this last week, just because we've been looking at all these other plays, and it seems very easy to like sell your ape and then go in on something else, like almost too easy. Oh wait, can y'all not hear me either?
No, I hear you. I cannot hear Ty yet, so hopefully he's getting in.
Okay, no, all good. Yeah, so like we were saying earlier, like it seems too easy to sell your ape and then just go get something else, which I've been around the apes since like April of 2021, like a month after they were created. And this is the point where you should probably look to be buying apes instead of just putting them off. So for me, this is to me that's the indicator that this is probably a good buy point for the apes. Kaizen, what you thinking on this?
I feel the same way. I think it's a buy, and I honestly I brought this up before, and I hate to even bring it up, man. But there's so much FUD about this kind of alt-right connection, and there's some new stuff that came out from Wave Ninja just yesterday, and I don't know if you've dug into that.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, so Wave Ninja is a guy that rocks a Cool Cat PFP, and I guess he did an interview with Gordon Goner just recently, and he's publishing it. I think he kind of leaked some of it yesterday, and I think the full article is going to come out today. But it's just he won't let that go. He's kind of following Ryder Rips's thesis on the whole thing, and I think it's commendable that Gordon Goner was sat down and talked with this guy, but I think at this point, man, like they just need to back away from it and let their PR team do the talking. Like it's such a huge entity now that I don't know, man. Like I think that Gordon is being very, very forthright about his opinion on it. And I think it's such a stretch to try and connect it to anything like that. But your words can get twisted, and that's why they have PR people. And I think once all that washes away, and it will, it's just a matter of time until everything starts to pump again. But I think that is something that's kind of stagnating the whole thing. What do you think? I mean, I know that you haven't read this latest article, but what's your big picture take on all of that?
Yeah, no, I was surprised that you brought that up because I thought the whole Nazi situation was already just like a done deal. Like I thought people already realized that once Yuga Labs is taking the Ryder Rips to court, like I thought that was the end of it, to be honest. So I'm surprised to hear that it's still going on. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I really don't think it's got an effect on the floor price, just because I think the people that think the Nazi stuff is true are so far removed from Web3 that they're not going to be anywhere close to the people that would be buying these things. And I think the people that are are involved in the space don't really see that as legitimate. So it really just sucks for the people that that aren't as involved in the space, that think there's actually malicious stuff going on when there isn't. I think in the end everything's gonna get. I mean, to me these claims aren't true at all. I think they're just baseless claims used to slander the apes and then give the people who are making these comments more engagement and get more eyes on their own stuff. So I just think it's a whole bad situation going on, but I think everything will end up all right, and once all the dust is settled.
Yeah, I think you probably nailed it, man. I think absolutely. There's definitely Bored Ape haters, and they're just gonna hate regardless. And I doubt there might be one person that was on the fence that got pulled to the dark side, but that's probably it. One person is the only guy that was affected by this whole kind of ridiculous thing. And yeah, I think you nailed it too on the second part with Ryder. He's like, hey, these things are problematic, so buy my collection, which is a total ripoff of it. Which I think just makes his whole stance totally ridiculous. I think that's the key takeaway.
Yeah. We can move on to number 3 because I hate giving it more attention than it deserves. Not that I'm glad you brought it up, but yeah, we don't need to give Ryder any more attention, I don't think.
I agreed, man. I totally agree. Fair point.
All right, so number 3, we got Big Eye Rebellion. I don't know what this is. It's got less than a 0.01 floor price, so this has got to be wash trading, I'm assuming.
Man, it might be. When I did a little bit of research into it, and just what I saw was just, hey, this is another free mint that just got some legs for a minute. That if you got it for free and you minted 100 of them, nice move. But you should probably just sell them because they're going to go to zero. That's my.
These look like free mint alien boys.
Yep. That's my take, man. If the artist is out there, man, no offense, but I've seen a lot of those kind of come and go.
Yeah, we'll find you a better artist for your next collection if you're out there. All right, so mutants are at number 4, 16.7 ETH floor price. I think this is actually lower than I was gonna say it's lower than the ratio that we've been seeing in the past between the mutants and the Bored Apes, but I actually think it's pretty close. I think it's about 1/5, maybe somewhere between 1/4 and 1/5 of the price. I think since I'm pretty sure the apes are bottomed out, I think mutants probably have too, just going along those same lines. So I'd be sweeping these at 16.7.
Yeah, same. I think they're extremely undervalued, and that's kind of the problem with. I think they're affected a little bit more than the apes, just with the 20K volume that you're going to just have with twice the amount of holders. You're going to just have more people that want liquidity and want out and want to get into something else. So I think, that's, in my opinion, the ratio will always drift a little bit lower in a bear market, just for that simple fact.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how that's affecting the distribution of these things. I'm seeing right here, there's 13K owners out of the almost 20K supply. I would be interested to see how that's changed over time, because I guarantee through this past bear market, the percentage has been going up from people that have extras just trying to get out of something that they can get good liquidity for, and spread their money through different projects that are at low values.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, kind of just me thinking out loud there. All right, so number 5, we got Stickman Toys. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't looked too much into these. I think the mint price was higher than what the current price is, but this is the new Bose NFT. It looks like also a collab with Warner Records. 0.12 seems pretty cheap. I would go with sweep on this just because of the association with some of these bigger name companies. But as far as the actual utility, I haven't had the chance to dive in yet. How about you, Kaizen?
I dug in a little bit, and man, the one thing I did see that it was actually a free mint according to the website, but I don't know if you had to own something or maybe join a raffle to get one. There's only 5K, like you said. I think they're interesting, man. Like that's a meta. Like I was talking with Roberto, who's part of the ATX group, Roberto, and he's really bullish on these collaborations that have physical components. And this one's talking about having, what did it say? If you own one, you gain access to live events and the ability to claim Stickman toy, streetwear, and physical collectibles. And that's a meta that there's a lot of people that are into. I haven't really bought into a lot of stuff that do that, but that's something that makes sense, man. With the Bose partnership, I would say at this price, it's a buy. I haven't done it yet, but I mean, yeah, it makes sense. There's a lot of other things that in the same range that have a much lower percentage of doing anything. I think these have a lot going for them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did see on here that they are giving IP rights with these things, so it seems like you'll be able to use them in other projects. Maybe they'll get integrated into other stuff too, which is one of the things that's really important for different collections. Like if CryptoPunks didn't get their IP back from Larva Labs, then there would be no Christie's pendant that you could get with your CryptoPunk on it. So yeah, I gotta say I would be sweeping these also for that reason. I think even though there might not be a clear cut thing right now for what the path lays for Stickman, I think the upside is there. So yeah, I'd be sweeping those as well. So for number 6, we got Lady Ape Club. I hate all Bored Ape derivatives, so this is a sell for me at 0.9, which I don't even think. I'll stop talking about it because I haven't done enough research on the Lady Apes yet. But yeah, I would not buy these. What about you, Kaizen?
No way. We were kind of looking at this last week. I don't think we talked about it, but to me, it's a derivative of a derivative. Like it's obviously centered around the Bored Ape ecosystem. And just a few months ago, we had Desperate Ape Wives, which is almost the exact same thing. And now we have Lady Ape Club. Like, hey, if you got it for free or at mint price, my advice to you would be sell it right now. Like, this is not going to become the next blue chip. Like, it's just I can't see any possibility of that happening.
Yeah, no copies of other collections do well, so there's no reason why I don't think this one would be any different. All right, Rags to Richie by Alec Monopoly is number 7 on the daily volume. I think this one's interesting because I know Alec Monopoly is a well-known artist, but I don't know much about him. So as far as the 0.54 price goes, to me, this is completely out of my realm. If I had one for this price, especially if I minted it for lower and it's already in profit, I would be selling right here. What about you? What you thinking, Kaizen?
Yeah, I would sell too, and I did a little research on him, and it looks like the I was talking to somebody else that was familiar with him this past week, and they said like, yeah, he was like a street artist and just had like uh, that underground vibe, right? And like slowly he's morphed into almost like a Instagram influencer kind of guy that still does his art, but he's just very driven by like posting with the fancy cars and just kind of like balling on Instagram. And I don't know, man, like that's just a little bit of a turn off, like to me. And that's really would be a stupid reason not to buy something. But but that's kind of where I'm at. Like, honestly, like I want to support people. I kind of like that underground underdog vibe a little bit more. Like this guy is already very established and doesn't need my 0.55 ETH to kind of push ahead. And that all those would signal to me like it would be more of a cash grab kind of thing versus like, hey, this guy's really kind of needs it. Like he really needs this money to like continue as an artist. Like I just don't know, man. There's enough in there for me not to go after it.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair point. I think, especially once you start diving into like the Instagram, like the professional Instagram influencers, I don't know. There's just something about them that I can't trust.
Exactly. Yep. And that's it. And that's again maybe a superficial reason just to pass on something that has some potential. But man, I've only got so much ETH. Like I can't buy everything, and that's if I don't feel the vibe, I'm not going to buy it. So that's where I'm at.
Totally. All right, so we got 3 left on this top 10 list. We got other deeds next up. These have been, I think, every single week I've said I'd be buying these, and they keep going lower. And I'm gonna stay with it. I would still be buying these at 2.15. The problem is the floor has been. There's so many things listed, and everyone's just keep lowering and lowering the price. So I really don't see a quick return on these. But I think in the long run, people will be able to look back and be like, all right, 2.15 was a pretty good price for these.
Yeah, man, it's a tough one for me. Like I've actually, it's the floor's gotten low enough for the first time for me to actually think about buying back in. Like I've sold some off that I had a nice bag of them, and I've just kind of slowly been selling as the price has been falling, and now it's low enough to where I'm actually looking for buys. And I think that would be the play, like either buy the floor, right? That'd be the most liquid, or you might be able to find something that's way underpriced. And that's what I've been doing is just digging through, kind of looking for gems. And I know there's going to be some deals out there because it's just selling these is even more difficult, right? Like there's so many kind of niche traits. This collection is bigger, like 10 times bigger than your average collection. And there's just so many traits and so many kind of unique items. And you kind of have to zoom out to the lowest common denominator to even get anybody to consider buying your stuff. But yeah, man, 2.15 is low, and I could also see a possibility of these continuing to drift, so to drift lower. But again, for the first time, I'm looking at trying to find deals. So I think it would be a sweep for me at this point.
Awesome. Yeah, I think one of the other reasons why people are uncertain is because they know that there's going to be 100K more of these, and we're not sure how they're going to be distributed yet. So That's probably got a lot of people taking the cautious side because there's going to be a lot more supply in the future, and who knows how that's going to end up affecting the price. But just one thing I noticed really quick before we move on to the next thing is that the floor price right now for the other deeds are 2.15, and the floor price for Mutant Land is 2.41. So it's really not that much higher than the floor, and I think that's a possible arbitrage trade that could be made at these current prices.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. I've been looking at a similar plays to that. Like that's exactly like those should be valued way higher than the floor. So
right. And the actual ape ones, the floor for those are 5. So there's a big difference going on right there.
And hey, this might be a good time. I know we're running low on time, but I I saw a thread, and I wish it was a long time ago. I wish I knew who to credit for this, but they were speculating that the this new 100K drop of land is going to be like in the real world, like it's the other side, right? Like what we have right now is the other side, like this kind of mystical coda world. That the other drop is going to be like the real world of the apes, like kind of the world of like in the swamp and like the rest of that city. So maybe more of like a Grand Theft Auto vibe. And I just think that that's a fact at this point. Like the more I've kind of been marinating on that idea, like I think it makes a lot of sense that that's exactly what it's going to be. That those little doorways are portals to the real world.
That's a really interesting take. I haven't seen that before. That would be really cool if like they get some event going on where you got to go. I'm sure they place it all over, and then you could get stuff from certain places. Is that like kind of what they're alluding to?
Yeah, I think it's just yeah, exactly. Like it would like just this new set would be like in the real Bored Ape world of like there's the swamp and then there's the city and like more like our world. And I imagine it'd be laid out in a similar way. Like some of it's in the city, some of it's in like a small town, some of it's in the swamp. Like so, it'd be kind of parceled out the same way, but just in like more of a real world versus this fantasy world.
I gotcha. Yeah, that would be awesome. Send me that. I want to, if you can find that thread, definitely send that in the group after it because I want to check that out and come up with some, see if I can connect any other dots there too.
Yeah, I'll try and find it, man. It was months ago, and I don't. When did these drop? Like it was within a month of these
April, I
dropping.
think May.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, so maybe I saw that in June, but it'll be hard to find. But I want to see it too, man, because I think they nailed it. And it was one of those things I read, and I was like, that makes sense to me. And I just kind of thought it'd be part of the collective consciousness about this, and I never saw another whisper of anything along those lines.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I figured we could start with you on this next one because I know you were looking into Nina's super cool world a little bit earlier. What do you think about the 0.69 floor price?
I like this. Like I don't honestly, my taste in art, like I don't love the art, to be honest with you, but I love the fact, like I was reading about the artist Nina Chanel Abney, and I like her story. I like her vibe. Like this is definitely a continuation of her style. Like I'm definitely a bigger fan of her larger format pieces that are in this same style. And I really am bullish on the team. Like I was scrolling down, like if you click on the link that's to her website in the OpenSea, like she's got just some of the names jumped out at me. Like Pharrell's a member of this team, Todd Kramer, Jimmy.eth, and just like, and there's probably some of these other people, other people know more about, but just for me to look at this team, like that's a star-studded cast. She's a legitimate, like real world artist. What was that? Cause, yeah. He's in there, and man, I think that I love the low supply. Honestly, it looks like the prices might be pulling back a little bit at the moment. So I would probably this is one that I would track or maybe just put in some low bids. But this is something I'll probably put in my wish list and just kind of track. Like I personally don't feel like I would need to jump in at this price, but I feel like maybe it'll pull back and I could sneak in at a lower entry point.
So are you going for sweep or sell on this one?
Man, right now I'm gonna sell, but I'm gonna again bookmark it and potentially sweep in at a lower point.
Cool. So we got a little short-term sell going on there for Kaizen.
Yep.
I like that take. I've seen Nina's Super Cool World in the top 10 or at least around it for the past week or two. I actually looked into this on a live research stream a couple weeks ago whenever it was first dropping, and it seemed like a really cool story. Nina seems like a really cool artist. I think she's got a good purpose behind all of this stuff. I'm just not familiar with her as an artist, I kind of like what you think as far as the short-term price movement goes. I could see the same thing happening, and I see here that there's a lot less owners than total items, so it makes me worry that people might be trying to flip these. So I'd be selling these as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, man, about the owner distribution. Like, yeah, exactly. Let the flippers get out, buy back in lower once it is better distributed. That makes a lot of sense. And hey, I just want to shout out Todd Kramer. He's on that team for artist relations. He's the guy that sold me my my ape. We did an OTC trade, and he's got an art gallery in New York City, and he's a huge Degen. And I just was surprised when I saw his face there, and I think it's really cool that he's helping out with this project.
Yeah, that is awesome. I think that's one of the most underrated things about dabbling in the type of stuff that we do. It's you never know who you're gonna meet. Kind of along those lines, one of the people I sold my old ape to back in, I think it was May or June of last year. It was like a little over a year ago. Was the CEO of the Fan Controlled Football. I sold him my ape, and then it just turned like I knew nothing about his project back then. And then fast forward to almost a year later, and I become one of the biggest whales of his collection. So I just think it was funny how some things come full circle in Web3.
Yeah, that is nuts. That's really cool that you guys are back. You're back on his team essentially. That's really great.
Right. Cool. We'll dive into the last. We got the last thing right here. The geometric birds, and then we can wrap this podcast up. But I actually don't know very much about these, and I think you do since you're a little bit more tapped into the moonbirds community. So I'll start with you on this one.
Man, my overall thesis is I don't really care for the derivatives. So that said, I'm looking at the floor like maybe this 0.41 bird would be a good one to buy, and then try and sell closer to the 0.78 floor that's right above it, so that maybe a little arbitrage would be. I'll sweep this one and list it at 0.7 and just make a nice quick 0.3. But other than that,
somebody already bought it.
Did they? Okay.
0.41 though.
Okay, let me see.
So maybe there is interest at these prices, but there's also people that want to sell at these prices.
Yeah. So yeah, I just it's one of those things, man. Like if you can, it's impossible to time everything perfectly. So I just feel as soon as I get something that's a derivative like this and it's pumping, I just want to sell it right away, and just get out before the floor crashes. Mm-hmm. It's not a long-term hold. So, and that's what I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to do less flipping and more longer-term holds. So it just goes against my investment thesis. I think they look cool, but yeah, it would be a sell for me.
Yeah, I'd be selling these too. I just don't think the long-term value is there for these derivative communities. Like it's cool for just a one-off piece of art, but even for me, like I'd rather just right-click save a derivative, because I know there's probably not much other value that's going to come out of it besides the actual art. Like unless somebody built a community around like making derivatives, then like maybe that would get me interested in derivatives. But yeah, for these, I wouldn't be buying them, because to me it's just like playing hot potato almost. So yeah, I'm out on the geometric birds.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, well, we made it to the end of the podcast. Thanks for staying on a little bit later than we normally do it. Yeah, I think we had some really good conversations. I'm excited to check out some of these new things, like that one tool that you mentioned earlier. We'll get that in the show notes afterwards. And yeah, I just think there's a lot of cool stuff going on with Web3 as always.
Yeah, and we missed Ty. Ty got rugged halfway through it, and I know that he would have had some great points on all this too, and hopefully we'll get everything sorted. I know you guys are both traveling, so you guys don't have your normal studio setups. So
yeah, we both should be back to normal for next week. So it'll all be back on the regular voice, the regular not getting rugged by our microphones and everything like that. But yeah, shout out to Ty also for joining in while he could. we're doing a Twitter Spaces tomorrow on Twitter. I know, Kaizen, you might not be able to make that, but let us know if we got to switch the time up because we love having you in there. And yeah, it's just been great conversations every single time. So if anybody out there that's watching this wants to join in on the conversation tomorrow, make sure you go follow the Ape Well on Twitter, or follow me, Paper Ape, Kaizen, Ty. We're all going to be in the spaces talking. If y'all want to jump on stage and chop it up with us, we'd be happy to talk anything, whether it's Web3 related or not, because this is, yeah, we're just we're just here for the vibes. So,
hell yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully I can join, man. I always love those conversations, and yeah, the people that come in that are just listening bring the heat. Like, we love that, and it kind of gets me out of my echo chamber because I'm really hyper focused on just a few things, and I love hearing other people's perspectives because there's so many experts. This Web3 space, NFTs, is so huge, man. So we love hearing everybody else's perspective.
Right, like we can only be stretched so thin with the stuff that we research. So it's glad to get some fresh blood in here and being able to get the pulse on some of the other stuff going on in the market. But so that's going on tomorrow. We got the whole schedule of events on apewell.com. You guys can go there and check it out. But thank you guys for joining. If you're not subscribed already, not following us, go ahead and do that so you stay up to date with all the latest NFT stuff happening. Kaizen, thanks for joining, and we will see you all next time.